My passion is with scent and specifically with natural perfumery. And for me, candles are just a vessel, one of the mediums which I use to scent. I called it Candles of Light because I like the idea of someone buying my candles and you're gifting light to someone else. I was doing PR events and marketing for about 9 years and I loved it, but I think I just needed a break because that was something I was doing non-stop. I had already been making candles before and scent was something that I found really fascinating and really interesting. So one of the things I did was I went to the south of France and I studied perfumery there and I loved it. Gradually when I came back, I had friends asking me to make candles for them and it eventually grew into business. I find that scent is so personal, yet so underrated at the same time. I mean, as a society, we place a lot of emphasis on the things that we taste and the things that we see. But a lot of the times, what we don't realize is scent is the major factor in what we taste. So if you have the cold, for example, you're not able to taste your food. And what I love about scent is its ability to trigger memories. One of my very first few perfumery workshops, there was a woman that came in and she smelled the scent of orange oil. And she said, oh, this reminds me of my Chinese teacher in primary school. My Chinese teacher used to eat oranges in class. And she would peel the oranges and she would hand out our worksheets, which is why the smell of orange always reminds me of that Chinese teacher. In terms of formulating a scent, specifically for my core range, I'll think about a time of day. When in the day is it specifically? First thing in the morning, or is it at noon, or is it closer to the end of day? Based on that, I think about the mood that someone would want to feel during that time, or kind of the energy of that specific moment. In my head, I start pulling out main elements of what I want to smell, and then I start building it from there. And it usually goes through a lot of experimentation. Pure soy, pure beeswax both go into the base for the candle. And in terms of the scent, they're blended with essential oils and other natural botanicals. What I'll do is melt the wax. The wick goes in. Once the wax is melted, I will measure out the right amount of scent, pour it into the wax, stir it, and then pour it into a candle that's already been baked. So my newest range is the candles are poured in terrazzo, handmade terrazzo vases. The vessels were designed that they can either be reused to fit a standard tea light, or they can just be rinsed out and you can use them, as a vessel to hold your brushes, for example, your little knickknacks. And so it also gives people a reason to purchase the candle and to upcycle the product as well. I run the whole business myself. Everything from sending parcels out to blending to ordering to making deliveries, that's all me. I think the issue with a business like this is the seasonality. So some months are good, some months are not, and then you just try and make it work. But I think my family took a while to get used to the idea that this was something that I would be doing full-time. Eventually, they came around to it and they were very supportive, especially when things get a bit crazy for me, and they'll always volunteer to help out. So my dad's very handy. My wax melter, and that's one of two that I have, was something that he made for me because I was looking at commercial wax melters over the internet, and at that point when I was starting it, it didn't make sense, or I didn't feel justified in spending thousands of dollars on something that was commercial. So I showed him the picture and he was like, yeah, I think I can do it. And then the next thing I knew, he had pretty much made the whole thing for me. I think when you pursue something that's practical, there's always that safety net. Whereas when you're pursuing passion, sometimes there's a lot of uncertainty that's associated with it, and that's something that I'm still trying to come to terms with, embracing or being okay with the uncertainty and always pushing myself out of my usual comfort zone. And really, it's what I love doing.